Bill Jones, living in the past. Glad to have you along on my time machine. We love stories here. It's all about growing up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So I want to hear your stories. Right now, though, I'm going to take a moment to tell you my story. We all have this story. We all have a different version of this story. Here's my version of my first time. Do you remember the date of your first time? I do. It was July 13th. But not only do I know the date, I know the exact time. I told myself before then, hey, when that happens, I'm going to remember the date for the rest of my life. And I do. That was years and years and years ago. I know the date, but I know the time. Do you know the time? The girl's name was Debbie. We went out for about 5 years altogether, and this was our first time. I was 18, just getting out of high school. She was 18, just going into her senior year. Her parents worked 9-to-5 jobs. My mother, I was raised by a single parent. She also worked a 9-to-5 job. I worked part-time at Safeway, but I had a lot of time off when I wasn't working at Safeway. And when I wasn't messing around with my buddies, I was over at Debbie's house. And her parents had a great den, a big 26-inch color TV back then. That was something. We'd made out many times before, but this one time, it actually happened. We went all the way. Didn't look up at the clock, but I knew what time it was. How did I know? Let's Make a Deal with Monty Hall had just started. That's how I knew. When it was all over, I looked up at the clock again. Okay, all right. That lasted a whole whopping 3 minutes. 3:02 to 3:05 in the afternoon on July the 13th. Celebrate that day every year. But a little bit later, things got a lot more interesting. I'll tell you about that after this.